No questions from last week?
No, I think we've got a pretty good understanding, and we've been adjusting our eating. I think for both of us, I think we both struggled to take in enough calories right now, and
Okay.
probably protein. We're doing okay with, at least from a percentage standpoint, we're doing good. I just don't know that we're getting enough
Yeah.
in that.
That's usually the biggest hurdle for people. They don't even realize like how easy it is to get carbohydrates in, you know, and protein's tough. And that is why I supplement, because it's the only way you're going to get in your protein.
I think we also learned that Carly may either be allergic to whey protein, or she just has to drink it very slowly. She got a very
extremely intense stomach upset the first time I had a protein shake.
Yeah.
I was ready for Murderland.
She was not happy with me. She's never had a protein shake before, so it was kind of her first time even trying it.
You know what, though? She's got other issues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned last week that you might want to do the gut reset protocol, because it's going to take your body, your gut, about 6 to 9 weeks to heal. If you have leaky gut, minimum. So what you have to do is heal. And most people, whey protein, once your gut is fixed, most people can handle whey protein. But the thing is, it's a dairy. It's whey comes from dairy. So, but most people who have dairy issues can tolerate whey. It's just people who usually have an autoimmune disorder always have leaky gut. And so the leaky gut is going to be a preventative to even having to even being able to experience a lot of foods that are good for you, because your body is just, it's inflamed. So there's so much to this. There's really a lot to it. So, with your autoimmune disorder, the step number one that you need to do is get gluten, dairy. You're gonna have to eliminate certain foods and really start to fix your digestive system. All right. I'm going to move on to this. I'm going to keep eating my little chips. These are one of mine. They're called whey thins. And it's 10 grams of protein and 10 grams of carbs. And it's perfect. I take it to the movie theater instead of having popcorn, because who doesn't like popcorn? And I love movies. And so you have to replace, you guys. You can't just eliminate, because you'll go crazy. You have to replace. So when I go to the movies, I sneak in a little like soda water, carbonated water that's flavored and unsweetened, and then these. And it solves that brain urge that where you hear everybody crunching around you and you get that temptation. This is good enough. And keeps me healthy, keeps me fit. So it's really important to really find the good, healthy replacements for yourself. All right, so the reason, you guys, that this is called the Spiritual Warrior Fast is because the number one thing that's going to happen to you right now is consciousness and awareness and bad habits and falling off the path and getting back on and being ticked off at yourself and falling off the path and getting back on. And so this is why I call you warriors. And this is why it's spiritual, because it's between you and your ego and your higher self. It is literally your ego and your spirit in the boxing ring, pounding it out as to who's going to win this battle. And you've got to tune in and listen to what your soul is saying to you. Because when you start dieting, or when you start really, really getting conscious about your goals and you're like, this is my direction, this is my path, this is what I want, then you have got to show up for yourself. And the places we don't show up for ourselves are when our ego has won that battle, or an old trigger has won that battle and our higher self has not. So this is why I talk about meditation in this program. And it is really all about waking up to being consciously aware of the life you want to live, the body you want to create, the habits you want to have, and all of that is our own self choosing and doing. And it is so easy. I actually did a live on this on Facebook today. It's so easy to be lazy. It's so easy to choose the popcorn, right? It's so easy because it's right there and everybody else is doing it. So we tell ourselves, oh, just one time isn't going to be bad. But that one time has been 3,700 times, not just one time, because we've made that one time the exception so many times. And we have to start choosing our goals. We have to start showing up for ourselves in what we want and just simply making a different choice. That's it. It's all about our choices every single moment. And that is why this is called Spiritual Warrior Fast. And a lot of people aren't really going to know that on the front end, you know, but like now you know, and you're going to really start to understand what I'm saying behind this as you start to go forward and as you start to implement this into your life. And these little things that you want to be doing, but maybe you're not doing it, or you're learning a new way. And so the reason I created this program in particular, and it may seem very weird, like, what? I'm fasting with coffee? Well, there's a reason, because it works and we're getting into fat burning and you're fasting, which works incredibly. So the reason I want to do a call here and a training is because you don't have to do the coffee. You don't have to do it this way. You can adjust it and you can adapt it to what works for you in terms of food wise. We just got to find that way. But what doesn't change for people is that fasting works. It's primal. Our bodies were built to fast. They were built to burn stored body fat as a fuel source. And we get so much cellular regeneration, mitochondrial regeneration when we are fasting and our body is not processing foods. It is one of the healthiest things that we can do to our body. So because our mind is such a big mind trip and a big trigger for us, I decided to create this protocol that we can follow by actually still, you know, following, feeding ourselves, because we're so used to doing that to solve our things. You know, we're just so used to having the drinks, eating the food, procrastinating with chips, or having something to eat. And until you can break through that place, because that's the way it's been going for so long, then and be in a place where, you know, you're around all that good stuff, but your mind is stronger than the environment. You've got to like shift. You have to replace, and you have to really just choose what is what you do want. And so when we're really heading down this trajectory, and I'll get into this here in a second, there's going to be things that you're going to have to do that are weird, and that's okay. And I'm so glad that I'm talking about this, because it's just really important to know that everybody has a journey, everybody has a process, and it may seem weird, but you know what? Who cares if it's weird? You know, I think I mentioned last week that I used to take a cooler of food to places when I traveled. It's because I wanted my goals, and I wasn't strong enough to just go into these environments and not choose the food that they had, like not have the cookies, not have the carbs. I wasn't strong enough yet to be able to just say no in those moments when other people around me were eating it. I had to force myself to take my own food, to bring my own meals, to eat beforehand, to fill myself up, to say no when that might even offend somebody, because my goal was for me. My health was for me. So me being healthy, or your wife being sick and showing up to a party and having the gluten-filled awful foods when they're going to just destroy her system, that does not serve her at all. It didn't serve me to eat the foods that were bad for me. So you owe nobody explanations as to why you're eating the foods you are or why you're not eating the foods you are. You just got to do what works for you. And this really takes diligence, focus, concentration, really being strict with ourselves. And you guys, we're going to fail. I fail all the time. And now I just kind of look at it like, it's, so you're going to kind of like, it's like, okay, I used to fail, beat myself up, get back on track, fail, beat myself up, get back on track. And then it was like, okay, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm just going to like choose my poison. So if I want to have the ice cream, I'm going to have the ice cream and deal with the consequences of that. But I'm still going to get back on track. I'm just going to eliminate the beating myself up part, you know? And that was like one big process and movement for me. And then the second thing was really being able to be around foods and not choose them. And then it really is like, now it's like not really even like, I don't beat myself up. I just kind of look at it and I remember the journey. I just remember the journey and like, okay, like last night we went out for my birthday and to a sushi place and they brought a dessert at the end for me. And it was fried ice cream. And like, I was like, oh boy, I'm not going to say no. You know, like I had a bite and then we dug into like the fried part and I tasted it and it tasted awful. The fried part of that ice cream. And then I was like, get spoons so everybody can have this. And, you know, it was funny to me to watch it as it passed around who just dug into it. And my mom's husband did, and he's got diabetes. And like, it's like, dude has not yet fixed his curve for food, for sugars. He hasn't yet. He's got some trigger that really like he hasn't broken through. And you guys, it's always a trigger. It's always a trigger. It's always something like we feel like we're missing. And so that little sweet thing is giving it to us or the chips are giving it to us. But in reality, when we're sabotaging ourselves and our goals, we are not loving ourselves. And that's the reality, you know? So that was a big opening rant.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. We went to a birthday party this weekend, like a 1-year-old birthday party. So if you can imagine, it was pizza and ice and the cake and just snacky type food. So we decided to eat before we went there so that we wouldn't be hungry or tempted. It was we run it. Obviously, we're going to run into that all the time, especially with me traveling and conferences and meetings and out for drinks with the guys for after dinner, you know, stuff like that. So
Right.
that kind of stuff happened.
Yeah. It's so important for you to begin, you know, it's interesting, right? Just your own awareness around how you show up now. It's just like, it's like a parting of the curtains. You're like, okay, I'm going into a new area. And you're going to just start to learn these little things about yourself. And it gets more and more and more. You get better. You just get better. It was really funny because last week I went to my mom's church and they had trivia night, and I got there and I saw the food that they posted or that they brought, and it was just all sweets, all sugars. And I literally thought it was like fake, some of it. And I thought, are they really eating this? Like, these are adults. I was shocked. I literally gasped for air when I saw the food. And because I guess I wasn't expecting that. And I was like,
yeah,
guys eating this? And they just all, but no joke, everyone at the table was overweight. And one lady was morbidly obese. So, and I'm just sitting there looking at this stuff going, and you know, when that's how our willpower diminishes, when we're sitting in front of something like that and we're saying no, 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 because I'll tell you, the sugar cookie that they had sitting there looked good to me. And the old me would have eaten them. And the new me was like, no, 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 look around. You have to begin to associate what they look like, what the person looks like with what they're doing. You have to associate. And it's not bad. It's not, it's real judgment. You know, it's like, you're not judging them. You're judging the behavior that gets somebody to get that to that place. And you're being, what's the word? You're doing your due diligence to go, no, that's just not the choices for me. The rest of the world may be doing that. The people in this environment may be doing that, but I'm not choosing that for myself. And we just have to begin to change what we're doing. So let's go ahead and move into this one and really get into the types of fasting. So I didn't really touch too much upon this last week. You guys have your macronutrients and you know what you need to be eating on a day-to-day basis. And this is a way for you to hack the body, the nutrition of the body, the way your body is turning to the foods that you either have readily available because you've just eaten it, or you don't have food readily available because you fasted. And the moment you fast, the moment you go to bed, your body is fasting. The moment you wake up, you are fasted. So if you put sugars in your mouth right away, you spike your insulin, and you are no longer burning fat for fuel at all, okay? It's over, game over. So if you wake up and you just simply make one little shift in what you choose, you have fat instead of carbs, guess what? You can stay in fat burning, and your body can stay in its processing of stored body fat for fuel, because you haven't introduced carbohydrates, which takes you out, okay? So it's exactly what this is doing. It's just one little macronutrient. There's 3. It's one macronutrient. Well, there's 2 or 3, but like if you're used to having carbs, protein, okay, I'll get there. If you're used to having carbs, that takes you out immediately. It's amazing how just that. They're different. They break down different. It's just thinking like gasoline. Like gasoline is going to serve a gas engine, but ethanol, is it ethanol? Diesel won't work on that kind of engine, you know? So it's literally about shifting what your macronutrient is. Now, if you don't have carbs, but you have protein can act as a carbohydrate in the body if you have too much of it, or if there aren't really any carbohydrates introduced. So when we fast, we can fast with fat, okay? And then we can stay in fat burning. That's it. So this is a way to really hack your body. And when I really started like getting shredded and my abs really started popping, I would just wake up and I would make my Figure Fit fatty coffee. And I had coffee anyways, you know, and then sometimes I would eat. Excuse me. Sorry, that was like right in your ear. I would wake up and I'd have coffee, and then usually I'd have protein. And I kind of stayed at the same weight for a really long time, and it's because I was having protein and fat. I knew about this for a very long time, but I was having protein and fat. And then when I took out the protein and stayed in the fast, and then broke my fast at a certain time of the day with protein only, and then sometimes fat as well, my body was able to stay in that fasted state longer, and I lost more body fat, and I just got shredded. Like last summer, I was 39, and I was the most shredded I have ever been, and it was because of this protocol that you have in your hands. So it works. Now, I'm a type A, and when something works, I am obsessive with it.
Really? Okay, that's weird. I never would have guessed.
No. Oh, I know that sucks. Yeah. So I actually I gotta turn this down. The volume on this is crazy. Am I loud to you? Okay.
No.
I'm loud to myself, and you're quiet to me. So I'm trying to figure this out. So yeah. So what I did is I did it for too long, and I wasn't getting the appropriate nutrients that I needed. So this works. But see, this is different than fasting. Okay. So there's fasting, there's this, which is incorporating coffee. And sometimes, for example, right now, I've needed to cut back my coffee because I realized coffee is kind of impacting me in a bad way. with my energy, with my adrenals. I don't think I've had adrenal fatigue or anything like that, but just with my stress levels. And so what I decided to do is really cut back on the caffeine, and it's helped. So I'm actually going to stop doing this part of it altogether, and I might switch to matcha rather than coffee. But coffee has such incredible benefits. That is why I never wanted to quit this, because coffee produces mTOR, and mTOR helps the body with the metabolism, with the mitochondria, with fat burning. And so I just didn't want to stop the coffee, particularly because of how good it is. So it's not that I will like never have the coffee, my fatty coffees again. I'm just going to change it into like a matcha figure fit coffee, or figure fit drink or something, and just change it so that I can take the caffeine out of the whole equation, because sometimes people cannot do the caffeine. Okay. Now these are two different protocols. And when I first began, and also with some of my clients, let's see, I'm going to go down to, I'm just going to stop here, because this talks about, okay, so there's fasting, and then there's there's fasting, which is nothing, no food, water only. Okay. Yeah. And then if you're doing this thing, like, it's not technically fasting anymore, because you've incorporated food and fat and coffee into your body. So you're actually no longer fasted, but you're still in a fat burning phase. Okay. So this is the reason I call it a hack, is because sometimes fasting is incredibly hard. And so mentally, because people want to eat, they want to have something to put into their mouth. So that's the reason why I did this, because you can fast. That's easy, but it's not, you know what I mean? Fasting is just go to sleep, wake up, don't eat, have water, that's it. And then break your fast later on in the day. But sometimes people, especially if you work from home, you kind of get mind tripped and you're like, but I need to have something. So if you're used to having coffee, then you can have this, and you can still stay in that fat burning place and actually make yourself think, I'm having something. I'm having a breakfast. Like, my coffee became my breakfast. So there's fasting, and then there's like hacking with what we're doing here. So you can do both. Okay. Now, the thing about this is it's really about intermittent fasting. That's the benefit here. And
right.
There's two different paths here. There's the Spiritual Warrior fat loss and fasting program, where you can use the coffee, but you can also do this entire thing without the coffee, without anything, because that's going to tap you in to fasting as well, and all the benefits that fasting offers you. Okay. Any questions so far?
No, my daughter just woke up from her nap. Hi, Tina.
Hi.
I know, you're really cute. Hi. I see you, baby. No question. What was your question about coffee?
How we can make it ourselves.
How to make the coffee ourselves?
Oh, you got a video. I made a video today.
You what?
I made you a video today.
Oh, she made a video today.
Oh, perfect.
So
Okay.
I'll email that, and you'll have it like probably tomorrow. And then you can use that for matcha. You can use it for like green tea. All right. So we use healthy fats, like grass-fed butter or ghee. Have you ever had ghee?
I have not.
I mentioned that last week to cook with that. So get that.
I'm willing. I'm willing to try.
It's so good.
Anything.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
It's clarified butter.
Okay.
It's really, really good. It kind of sounds weird. Ghee. What the heck's ghee? It almost sounds kind of creepy, but it's not. It's really good.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I told my wife, I said, you ever heard of something called ghee? She's like, oh yeah, absolutely. I never heard of it. So
Yeah. I didn't either in the beginning, and then I started cooking with it. And then actually one time I took a cracker, like a sea salt cracker, gluten-free, and I like scooped it in the ghee. I'm weird. No, it's not that I'm weird. We're going to get into this, how you actually like trip your head when you're hungry and you want fat. Like you have food. I like scooped out the ghee and I put it in my mouth on the cracker. And I was like, oh my God, I never should have done that because it was so good.
now you like it, yeah.
So I was actually able to eat like 15 grams of fat like so fast. And I was like, okay, Liz, stop. But honestly, I was the fittest when I was doing that. So it's amazing because people think that fat will turn you fat, but fat is incredible. If you have too much fat and too much carbs, yeah, you're going to be fat. But,
Right.
but if you're just having fat and you're doing things the right way, you're not going to. You're actually going to get super lean. Healthy fats are so good for our body, our skin, our hair, our brain. Our brain feeds off of that stuff. So it's just incredible. So in my video, I show you my brand of MCT oil that you can put in the matcha or the coffee or the green tea. It's Now brand, and there's links in this that you can click on. Try a couple different ones if that one doesn't work for you. Because there are different kinds that are good. You can do coconut oil. It doesn't have as much MCT oil in it as, because coconut oil has a medium chain triglycerides in it, but it's not pure. It's not a pure medium chain triglyceride. That's why MCT oil is broken out and made on its own. So you want to try different kinds of that. Never put anything sweet in, never put stevia in, because the moment you introduce any sort of sweetener, it just ruins the game because your body releases insulin and it's game over for fat burning. Okay. So never anything sweet. And so here, we have toxins that are stored in our fat. So one of the supplements that I recommend here is, what is it? The charcoal. Having charcoal supplements, deactivated charcoal supplements, because those will those will bind to the active toxins in your body and start to flush them out of your system. So we want to make sure.
How often is that something you should take?
When you're doing a fasting fat loss program like this, I would just do it when you're doing this.
Just when you're okay. Got it.
When you're actually like in that. So for example, I didn't have, a lot of fat to lose, but for 1 week, I did the extreme fat loss protocol that's in this. And you could do that. Okay. You're going to have to get really diligent. We're going to talk about that here in a minute with focus and what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat it. You're going to have to prep, like literally prep for this. And then when you're doing that, let's say you want to like see how much fat you can lose in 1 week, or you could do it for 2 weeks in a row and just see how much fat you can lose. You want to take that. You might have like brain fog. You might have you might get hangry, but it won't be really hangry. It might just be your body releasing these toxins because it's stored in your body fat. So it's like a hangover sometimes for people. They really do get this toxin. It's called a healing crisis. So as the body is eliminating this stuff, the body is detoxifying, and it's actually literally going through a healing crisis, and you feel it. So lots of water, exercise, sauna, eat. When you do eat well, relax, make sure you're getting downtime. So, this one, the Spiritual Fat Loss Warrior Protocol, this is the one that I want you to do, to live on the rest of your life, really, because you can do it at any time. Once you get to your goal weight, you can do this anytime, and you should really do it like maybe 3 to 4 times a week, or maybe just do 1 week where you're just kind of eating whatever. You're going to figure out what you want to do. But sometimes, like, I fast a lot, and there's nothing wrong with it. So that's the beautiful part, is that you don't want to do something like this, like a type A person, for like ever. You want to be able to cycle off something and, reintroduce new foods, reintroduce another way of doing things, but you can like kind of focus on this and maybe do it like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or do it for a week solid and take a week off, do it for a month or 2 months and kind of see where it gets you. But you can't just stay on it like every single day. You know, you can in the beginning, but it's really good to like reintroduce different behaviors, different foods, coming off the coffee, maybe changing it up with matcha, maybe fasting. You know, it's just, you're going to really figure out what works for you. And like I said, I did this for probably 6 months straight. I just was hooked. Bulletproof every day, figure fit coffee every day. And I broke my fast around 2, and I'd have my protein shakes, and I'd work out, and I'd have more food on my workout days because I was working out, and it worked really, really well for me. But then I got to a place where I was like, I should probably get some, like, it was awareness that I wasn't, that's probably why I got sick. It was awareness that I was not getting enough vitamins and minerals in my body, and that food is the way to do that. And it's not, supplements help, but it's not via supplements. It's always best to get our vitamins and minerals through food, you know?
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it kind of reminded me, I guess, a little bit like kind of carb cycling.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly like with the extreme fat loss protocol. That's exactly what, not really like carb cycling, but kind of to a degree it is. So with this one, here's the fast protocol for the standard figure fit person who is like within their body weight range. This is really just like how to live your life. You know, finish your meals by 8 or 9 p.m. No snacking. If you need anything, have a protein only shake. Take Calm magnesium supplements before bed. Every single person who's working out, actually look up magnesium deficiencies, and you will see, oh, that's me, that's me, that's me, oh, that's me, I need that, oh, I need that too. Like, everybody needs magnesium. If you're alive, you need to supplement with magnesium because we're just not getting it in our foods. And if you're working out, then you absolutely have to get magnesium because your body's depleting it so readily. So taking some sort of magnesium supplement, that's also gonna, like, that's why I asked last week if your wife was constipated, because it will help regulate the digestive system, and it will help with that as well. So I know a lot of people who suffer from constipation, and I was one of them. And then when I added magnesium to my diet, it was a game changer. Everything changed for me. And it was like, thank God, by the grace of God, finally I was normal. I'll never be normal.
Fair enough. Yeah. What is normal anyways? There's no such thing as normal. Exactly. Everybody has their own normal.
Exactly. Yes. So, all right. Step 2. Wake up and do something to get you into your alertness, into your consciousness, into your conscious creative self, your conscious creator, who you want to be in the world, who you want to show up as, what's the world you're creating, who do you want to be in 5 years, what are the things you have to do to get yourself there. Because if you wake up and just let the day run you, then you're not running your life. You're not the captain of your ship. And if we can prove and we can make ourselves the captains of our own body, we can prove that we can run our lives, we can run our finances, we can run our businesses, we can create, we have a dream, we have a goal, we can get there. But if you just wake up and you don't have a plan, you're not going to get there. So wake up, do something to focus your mind, whether it's deep breathing exercises or meditation, and get out of bed, sit up so that you're awake, and do the exercises, tune yourself in. You're going to get so tuned in to the feeling of awakening, of alertness, of consciousness, of love, of joy, of happiness. You'll literally feel a difference between being in that state than in other states, you know. And this is, we'll get more into this part next week. And this is what I teach in yoga school with meditation and a state called samadhi, which is that feeling of connection with the divine. That's what you're tapping into when you do these exercises in the morning. And when you do these exercises in the morning, you set yourself on a path for the day to be alert, to have clarity, to have focus, and then you go and tackle your day. And you're way more likely to be productive. You're way more likely to meet those little milestones that you have for yourself if you set your day off on the right foot, you know?
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I like to visualize a 2 or 3 year goal. Where do I want to be? What I want to happen? Get really crystal clear in your visualizations to what you want, and just start focusing on what you want, how you want it to feel, and hold yourself in that energy so that the law of attraction can literally bring it to you, you know, because we don't attract what we want. We attract what we are and what we match ourselves to be. I see you smiling. Okay,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so before we do anything, have a bunch of water, have one whole thing of water, okay? Then you can make your coffee. You can exercise first. You can, well, let's kind of talk about that. You can, some people need food around exercise. And if you're going to do a really big exercise, then you're going to need to refuel yourself. We talked about that last week. So when you're doing the extreme fat loss protocol, you're really not exercising because you have to refuel, you know, you got to refuel. Otherwise you're going to be like crash. You can do like a little bit of exercising, but not a lot. And so with this,
so I started last week just to be transparent. So wife and I started walking every day again. So we're walking 2 to 4 miles every day at least.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing that with the baby, without. Either I'd push her in the stroller or I strapped her to my chest and I'd walk around with her as well. So at least that way I can get some steps in, and we're challenging ourselves. My mother-in-law is an avid walker. She walks like crazy. So I'm trying to match her steps for the week if I can. So that's at least to get something started. So for us, it's a changing habits, starting better habits for us. So
Good.
Good so far, though.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. It's so needed. And you know, like for that, you can do you can do like the coffee like before or after. Depends on when you work out. And then have, you know, because then you're just fat burning, you know, you're really not doing anything too extreme exercise wise. I mean, fat burning, like walking is still, it's good. It's a fat burning zone. So you're tapping into fat for fuel. And the only thing to be aware of is how you feel afterwards if you haven't taken in any carbohydrates. So that would be the only thing to really be aware of, because if your body's not really converted to burning fat for fuel yet, then you may, after an event like that, get really, really tired. You might get hangry. You might feel like you need a nap. You might get foggy headed because your body isn't really there yet to burning fat for fuel, because it's still used to burning glucose to fuel your brain. And so there's definitely a conversion process for your body. Okay.
Sure.
So you want to go as long as you can. And man, you know what? Once you become a fat burner, you might go till 4 or 5 o'clock and you're like, I'm not even hungry still. And you got to force yourself to eat. That happens to me all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to work out in like an hour. I need to get some food in my body so that I can actually like fuel that workout and fuel my muscles that I'm about to work and then, you know, build. And so it's going to be really easy to just forget to eat once you become a fat burner. And actually, there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens is when you get to that place, you might actually not get enough calories in, you know? So that's the one thing you got to be aware of. If you're really kind of like sitting on your butt a lot, like I did this last couple weeks when I've been sick, go back to your macros and do like the bare minimum, you know, like the BMR. What would you need at a baseline if you didn't have any activity? Because, and then like anything on top of that, any activity added, like walking and moving and breathing, you have to add calories for. But if you were just like, so your basal metabolic rate is how many calories you need sitting and doing nothing, okay? That is for your brain, for your muscles, for your liver, for your heart, for all the body functioning that you need. So it's like, let's say your BMR is 1100 or 1200. You need that just to live. So once you start getting below that number on a regular basis, and this is where people who have anorexia or bulimia, they start messing up their body, their metabolism, because their body is no longer being fueled for its main function. So the heart starts to fail, the brain starts to fail, because on a baseline, you always have to have your basal metabolic rate calories, no matter what. Okay. When you add activity, that's when you add more calories. All right. So you can always go back to those numbers and kind of play with them based on inactivity or excessive activity. So on excessive activities, like when you go, let's say you go on a cruise. This is a perfect example. I've been on cruises and we have so many activities. We're swimming, we're going parasailing, we're walking, we're, you know, whatever, we're kayaking or swimming, and you eat like a crazy person on those cruises, and then you don't gain any weight. It's because you added all this activity, you know?
Right.
So it's really something to keep in mind for yourself.
Yeah.
All right. So then you just want to really go as long as you can, and then break your fast with either fat and protein, or if you're going to go work out, all three of the macros.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes
And
sense.
then we talked about like what to eat after your workout last week. Eat the carbs and the protein within 30 minutes of your workout. And then after that, have a full-blown meal. So the way that this one works is you fast, and you can have either fast and have nothing and then break your fast in the afternoon and keep your eating window within a certain time and break it off. Do the exact same thing again. So this is now pretty much how I live my life. I fast pretty much every day. I'm not always having the fatty coffee, and I'm not always fasting, but a lot of the times I am. And I'm just staying in that fasted state a lot longer than I'm staying in a state where I have food in my body. You know, it's just different than how I used to be. I used to introduce food right away in the morning, but then I realized I don't need to, you know, that kind of like, I kind of look at it now like breaking the seal. Did you break the seal? I don't break the seal yet. I wait as long as I can to break the seal.
Right.
And then just keep your eating window within a certain time. All
Got
right.
it. Okay.
Let's see. And do your workout. So the first option, the spiritual warrior fast, this one really allows you to keep working out along with your life. Okay. This is why this one is for life. This is for living, the spiritual warrior fast. But the other one is for extreme fat loss. And you're really not working out when you're doing that protocol. And if you are working out, you're only working out around that refeed day. Okay. All right. So here it is. Again, sample day for the spiritual warrior fast. So if you're interested in talking about like the ketones, I talked to you a little bit about those last week. And when you start burning fat for fuel, your body starts creating ketones. And those ketones are a fuel source, just like glucose. So when you start burning ketones, you get this extreme energy. And you have clarity, great focus, mental focus. Your energy is just incredible. You're past that healing crisis. You're feeling really good because you're burning fat for fuel. You've tapped into actually ketosis. All right. Now,
I do that.
ketosis is different than ketoacidosis. Ketoacidosis is having too many ketones in your bloodstream and being diabetic. All right.
Okay.
So, not something really too many people need to worry about unless they've got like liver issues. And I talk about that in here, liver issues or even kidney issues. If you do or your wife does, then you have to go get tested. And you have to do this differently, in a different way, a slower way, not as intense. But like once you get through that original ketosis phase where your body has burned most of the body fat for fuel, it's harder to get the ketones burning in your system. You're really good. You get to a place where you're really good at burning stored body fat for fuel, or fat for fuel if you don't have a lot of stored body fat, and glucose. And so that ketosis state isn't as high as it once was. So a lot of people like to supplement with ketones. And that's what I do now. And that helps.
Yeah.
That actually helps people in the beginning too, when they're getting started with this whole process. Having the ketones actually helps them to stay a bit more focused because it helps with the mind. And so I have those on my listenerswiki.com website under supplements, I believe.
Okay. I was going to say, I was going to ask if you had something, because I have, our nanny does the Advocare stuff, so she was willing to give us some pricing on protein or meal replacement shakes. So, and she gets like a 45% discount.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have like the ketones. She does the Advocare.
Yeah. So yeah, you could do Advocare. I do Isogenics. I think I might have showed you last week.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? I'll send you out my videos of how and when I use my supplements. That would
be great.
I'll put them in this, and then if you want to get started with them, either one of them, either Isogenics or Isogenics, you would want to connect with me to get started because you order it from my website. If you sign up from my website, you're paying full price. But if you sign up, you pay $29, then you get the same price I do. You get it at wholesale.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you do ketones, we all pay the same price with the ketones through Prove It. That's kind of cool because like they're not really forcing anybody to sign up to get the discount. We all pay the same price. Yeah. What's cool is you can become a preferred customer and earn, like, I forget exactly how it works, but like earn future credits by being on auto ship, so that you get discounts like on future products. And if you ended up signing up as a distributor, you still have to pay the same price as everybody else, but then you can earn money. Okay. So I'll send you those.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, it's just more about knowing when to take what. And I'm definitely willing to. So.
Yeah. So that's right here. That's a sample day right there.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's when to take what. And then like you see, get out of bed, have the water, drink the coffee, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Go dominate your day. Don't eat. So you can focus on, your work, drink water, carbonated water. If you get hungry, have another coffee, take a bite of butter, take your vitamins. So I'm going to come back to that here in a second, but this is till 5 p.m. That really ought to say, I don't know if I meant to say that, but it really ought to say to like 2. So I think I might have her edit that because I want you to break your fast around 2. Yeah, I mean, they say that here, so that's really confusing. I wonder if that's just a typo. So I want you to break your fast around 2 or 3, and then break it with either a meal replacement shake or it's break fast, not breakfast. Break fast with foods from the Figure Fit Food Guide. So like I said, you're going to break it with protein, carbs, and either fat and protein only, or if you're going to go work out, all 3. And I break mine often with protein only and ketones. And the reason is because that's around 2 and I don't work out until 5:30. So I'll break my fast with protein only and ketones so I can stay in a fat burning. And then I go work out. I have actually, before my workout, an hour and a half before, maybe an hour, I'll have an isogenic shake. And the isogenic shake is an actual meal replacement. So it's giving me all 3 macros.
Makes sense.
And then I work out. And then after my workout, I have another meal replacement shake. And then after that, I eat a couple more meals from 7 to 9 p.m. And sometimes I shift this up so I'm not eating so late. Okay. So sometimes I break my fast at 1 and I'm eating a meal at 3 or 4. And then I'll have my workout, and then I'll have my shake after my workout. So most days, every day, I'm having at least 1 protein shake, 1 meal replacement shake, and 1 protein only shake every day, hands down. Some days I have 2 meal replacement shakes because I'm having 6 meals a day, you know? So sometimes I shift it up so I'm not eating so late, because if I'm only doing that, then it puts me into the later where I'm really getting my calories. And that's okay. It's just sometimes I don't want to eat that late because it wakes me up, because then you have to go to the bathroom. So it can affect your sleep.
Okay.
Right. Okay. I mentioned that in like type A, be aware, you can go overboard. Change things up every couple of days. And so the beautiful part for me is that my figure fit workouts are on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. So I do this one every like off day. Or I'll do like, sometimes I'm like fasting a lot on my off days and my off workouts. And then on my figure fit days, I have more calories. So I have maybe, I have my full macros on those days because I want to make sure that I'm fueling my workouts. And actually the day after that too is important too, to get the supplements, to get the protein, to get the macros, because it's just as important on the day after that you're fueling the rebuild. So one of the things I always tell my clients is that, like, okay, let's say it's Christmas, all right? And you know you're going to eat, or it's Thanksgiving, and you know you're going to eat, and you know it's going to be good, and you guess what? You're going to do it. Well, here's what you do. You go earn that. You earn it. You go lift heavy. You send that food to something you want to grow, because that's what it's going to do. If you give your body something to do with that food, it's going to do something with it. It's going to build muscle. So don't be afraid to lift really, really heavy and kind of focus on those areas that you want to grow, to shape, to develop, to look better when you are eating more. It's totally okay. Your body will figure out what to do with it. When your muscles are broken down and they need to repair and rebuild, your body's going to go, this goes right here. All right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, doesn't it? All right, so here's some supplements. I just wanted to put like videos in here. Not videos, pictures, so that you see what they look like.
Yep.
I'm making myself.
Because there's a lot.
I know. There's
a lot of them that are out there. So.
Well, and here's the thing. Why I wanted to have the call, because you don't always need these. You do kind of need them all. You kind of do. But if you're eating the foods, you definitely need them if you're doing an extreme fat loss protocol. But if you're eating the
I'll try that eventually.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think I'll stick with the first one to start, and then kind of build up to what I feel I'm ready for it. Yeah.
I'm so the opposite of you. When I started doing these, I'm like, I'm going all in.
Well, I want to. I just know with my lifestyle right now and with everything going on, it's going to be, I just feel like it's going to be super crazy until I can get a good handle on, because I'm trying to make a lot of changes at once.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know it's going to be different, but it's all for the better. So I know I just have to do it. So.
Well, and when you are making a ton of changes at once, it is best to go slow. It absolutely is. Because you want to make sure that you pick one thing to really nail it down. Because otherwise
well,
you do.
And I've done, well, like I said before, I did pieces of this, but I don't feel like I was doing it in the right order, or I was missing pieces of it. So this kind of helps bring it full circle for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it fills some of the gaps that I think I was where I was making mistakes. And I see a lot of mistakes I was making before, and probably why I only saw a certain amount of weight loss. Because really, I mean, when I did it before for a year straight, and I was methodical about food prep, and I was really only going after the macros, but it wasn't like a specific number of proteins or carbs. It was really more about hitting the percentages.
Mm.
And then I could see when I was taking in fats when I should have been taking in more carbs or more protein. And
Yeah.
probably offsetting. I mean, I lost about 25 pounds, which was great. And I was working out 3 times a week, and I felt like it was a good start, but I kind of hit that plateau and I stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go anywhere. And then I lost my trainer, and then we had the baby, and then that's when all the wheels fell off. I had surgery. So now it's just circling back for me. So.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about the extreme fat loss protocol is that when you're not working out, that one's really good for people. So
yeah.
It may be harder. You might look at it and go, oh my God, that's going to be so hard. But if you're not working out, that would be a really good one to do, because it gives you, like, that is your workout, like that's a big thing to focus on and to tackle. It's like, holy smokes, this is going to be like a lot of my mental focus over the next 5 days. But once you get into it, you're like, it's actually not hard, because you're just going into the kitchen, and we'll talk about that more here in a minute. And like, if you hit those hunger pains, you're like, I gotta eat fat. So what am I gonna have? I would go in, and I literally, when I was doing my extreme fat loss protocol, I only did it once. I ate butter. I literally ate butter. I took butter to my studio. And one of my teachers was like, what are you doing? And I wasn't going to tell her. I was like, I'm doing a fat loss thing. And I'm like, I got to go eat my butter now. Cause it was like, I'd get hunger pains, and I was like, I'm in this, I'm doing it. And, I just went in and took a bite of butter, and it was weird. And I chewed it. And 5 minutes later I had water. And 5 minutes later, I didn't need, my mental state wasn't telling me anymore that I was hungry. I was actually kind of reset. I was able to go do my next thing, go teach a class, go do a live on Facebook, but get out of that, I need food, I'm hungry. Like, I solved the urge by going and taking a bite of the butter. And really, distraction's everything, so yeah. So okay.
Now with the extreme, are you thinking kind of the same thing? Is it you do it for every third day or every other day, or
no,
like
hang on,
per week? Or
we're almost there. Let's finish these supplements, and then we'll move into that one. So these are still the supplements for both, but right now we're still in the regular fast. Okay.
The regular one, okay.
Yeah, right now we are. These are supplements you're going to want to take. Pink Himalayan, you're going to want to have these on hand, okay? You don't have to take the activated charcoal. It would be beneficial if you have a lot of fat to lose and you're going to be going through a healing crisis. The vitamin D is really important for gut healing and really moving this stuff out. Having vitamin C is really important. The Calm is going to keep you pooping, and it's going to help you with sleep. The Himalayan sea salt is going to keep your electrolytes regulated. And if you have too many of these, see, the thing is, every time you eat food, you get sodium. Everything has
Right.
sodium. So since you're not eating, you're not getting the sodium, and your body needs the salt. It absolutely needs the salt. So you have to supplement with Himalayan sea salt a couple different times a day. And if you're you'll know if you're having too much, because you'll get diarrhea. And so magnesium causes you to go to the bathroom, and so does too much sea salt. So you want to just have like the serving of the magnesium at nighttime before you go to bed. The next morning, next day, have some Himalayan sea salt and see how that makes you feel. If you've had too many of, like, I only have this like usually once or twice. If I'm doing more than that, I've noticed it has given me diarrhea. So then I'll just back off and go, all right, you know what, for me, I think 2 is fine. Quarter of a teaspoon. And I just add it to my water and I drink it. So when you're eating, here's some stuff you can eat, like sardines. You may not. I eat these all the time because this is one of the best things you can break your fast with, because it has fat and it's pure protein, and it's got DHA and EHA, and it's got omega-3 to fuel your brain. Okay. These are the best. If you try other ones, you're probably going to hate sardines, but these ones are really, really good. And you see,
probably won't try them, but I will.
So you see, I write here though, or take. You see that underneath it?
Yeah.
Eat these or take krill oil. All right.
Krill oil. Yeah.
You just can't stomach the sardines. At least take.
Yeah.
Krill. Okay.
She can't. I would.
I know.
She's gonna look at me crazy when I tell her that. So.
I know. There's a lot of people that are like, hell no, I am not eating sardines. Oh man. Okay, then kale salad. Kale alone you need vitamin K, and kale has glutathione and vitamin K. And so if you can have a kale salad, I would say have a kale salad at least a couple times a week, or take vitamin K.
Or take vitamin K.
Yeah. The thing about supplements, remember, is they only go so far, and we only absorb so much. Our body is meant to break down foods, right? You can also, I say, or take vitamin K and glutathione. You would want to take both of those. See how easy it is to just eat a salad.
Yep.
And I have a recipe here. And this recipe is super good. It's super good.
Yeah. Look at you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
My wife likes recipes, so.
Yeah. This one's good. So I do this one quite a bit. I also do one with like some, what are they called? Dried cranberries.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes even some sliced apples. So you can kind of do a lot with kale. Kale is actually easy. Add some lemon and olive oil, and good to go. You don't really need much else. It's actually quite amazing. And here's another one. Apple and cheddar kale salad. This one's super good.
Always got apples.
I eat this one all the time. I need to make this. All right. So these are some of the meal replacement shakes I take. So I say take these or find your own meal replacement, because there's a difference between protein only and a meal replacement. All right.
Right. So
I say take 2 isogenics meal replacement shakes a day, or 2 isopro shakes per day. That's protein only. Or you can take branched chain. See, the thing is, a a protein shake, like this protein shake, is going to give you all of these supplements, because you see I'm saying take glutamine, take branched chain amino acids, but you don't have to buy these, you don't have to buy glutamine, you don't have to buy branched chain amino acids if you're having the protein shakes, because it has them, the branched chain amino acids in it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So let's say if you're not purchasing the isogenic supplements, then plan on purchasing the following here: the glutathione, the branched chain amino acids, and the glutamine. All right. And then I just talk about some additional things, like additional supplement options for isogenics people that some people like to try is the elimination and fat loss cleansing system. That's kind of like it's awesome. I'm not going to lie. It's totally awesome. It's a complete package and it gives you everything you need for like 9 days. That's the price.
Okay.
And then they have a 30-day, and it gives you all the shakes you need, gives you all your supplements you need. And there's just like one meal that it doesn't give you, obviously, but it gives you everything else. And it gives you like a breakout, what to follow. So if you wanted to do like this for now, or even like start with one of those to kind of get yourself into a regimen of doing the protein shakes, having the one meal, just kind of getting into a regimen, that's where I started. I started on that 30-day fat loss and cleansing system. It's just, and it's making you fast. You're still fasting.
Yeah.
You're just taking a cleanse drink. All right. So we can talk about that if you ever want to get into that. All right.
Yeah, I've done the Advocare cleanse before, so I was doing that every 90 days before. So, but theirs is only like a 7-day. Well, they have a 7-day, and then I think there's I don't think they have a 30-day, but there's a 7-day. So I think 7 days is the most I've ever done.
Okay. Well, their 30-day. This one is you fast for 2 days in the first 14 days, and in the second 14 days you fast for 2 days again.
Gotcha.
And then in between you're having the shakes.
Okay.
In the meals. All right, so we're getting into the extreme fat loss protocol. And this one is if you just want to like, this is what you go to if you have a lot of fat to lose, or you got a wedding in 2 weeks and you're like, or you're going on a cruise, or you just like, damn it, these pants are too tight. You just can go to this. This is your fast way to drop the weight. It is not long term, but it does work really fast. All right. And I have a lot of kind of like stops here that say this is not a diet to use while you're working out excessively. That will ruin your metabolism if you do that. Walking or one light workout before your refeed will be enough. Because when you're not eating, you can't be working out. Just can't. You can do this only if you're significantly overweight and have healthy kidneys and liver. Otherwise, the other protocol is what you have to do. Now, if you have any liver issues, any kidney issues, then you have to see a healthcare provider and get your liver enzymes tested and get your kidney functioning tested. Okay.
Yeah, Carly couldn't do this one.
Okay. You just want to test, because if you're already stressed, your kidneys are already stressed, that needs to be fixed before you can really start processing a lot of fat. Okay. So the other one is the way to do it if you need to go slower.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. And then this one has 2 ways to prepare the body. And I talk about a figure fit induction diet. And that's simply just eating the figure fit way, the figure fit foods that I talked about in the back of my book. Or you can do that isogenics 9-day cleansing and detox system to prepare your body for this program. Okay. And you can even do that before the other one as well. Not really needed, but if some people like to kind of ease their way into things, kind of doing just 2 weeks. Like if somebody, for example, the first one, number 1, if somebody's eating like a bunch of and they're just really not healthy, and they can't really go from one thing to the other extreme really quickly. So then one gradual option is to just clean up the diet first for 2 weeks, and then slowly graduate into the spiritual warrior fast, or this one, the extreme fat loss protocol. All right. All right. So with this one, 2-week induction diet plus the tests. If somebody is not healthy and they need to get their liver and kidneys tested, option B is to simply not do the induction diet with the Figure Fit foods, but do the cleansing system. And, oh no, I actually say here, do both. Do the 9-day plus a 2-week induction. And then test the liver, the vitamin D levels, and the blood lipids. So then with this one, what's happening is right here, I give you the recipe for the coffee. Okay. So there it is.
Okay.
Figure Fit Fatty Coffee on page 12.
What kind of coffee do you use? Do you use bullet?
No, I use, I like a lot of different kinds of coffee. I like Javelia. I do Dunkin' Donuts. I do Isogenics coffee sometimes. I do, I just try to make sure my coffee is like organic and good. But no, I mean, honestly, the thing about coffee is you just got to make sure that the beans don't have mold. That's the biggest thing about coffee. You got to make sure that you don't have mold in the beans. And how are you going to know?
Right.
Some say that mass-produced coffee tends to have more mold than others. And like organic is going to be taken care of better. So I would say just kind of find a coffee that you feel comfortable with and just brew that. Now,
my buddy works for a coffee company, so.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, he originally worked for Magnum Coffee, and then his new one, he just left Magnum, and they're up in Grand Rapids, or Grand Rapids area, by Muskegon, Grand Rapids area.
Uh-huh.
But his new one is Cafe Zeno. It's literally brand new, but he's a coffee taster and buyer. He's been doing it for
Cool.
15 years. He worked for me part-time at Best Buy when I was general manager, and then he did that on the side. He's from Brazil, and he speaks like 5 languages. So he travels all over the world. He actually finds the beans that they're going to source, and like he's ridiculous. So he knows everything I need to know about coffee.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to give you a fair warning on the MCT oil. If you're going to start with MCT oil, you're going to want to start with a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, because it will make you poop like crazy. Your body is just not, your digestive system just not ready for it. It's not used to it. I remember when I first started MCT oil, I was like, what just happened?
Where's Liz going? What's she doing? Where are you going?
Like for an hour. Like what the heck?
Oh, awesome.
No joke.
Okay.
I'm
Thanks
so
for the
sorry.
fair warning.
Yeah.
So
I'm
don't
sorry.
take that long. Don't take that while I'm traveling.
No. And so here's the funny thing. Like when I first started doing this, my mom and her husband had a camper, and her and I, her husband.
Oh dear.
And her, and we went to visit my son. So I was dating this guy at the time. My boyfriend and I, and my mom and my stepdad, we went in the camper down to visit my son, and we parked at a trailer, park where they house the campers. And I made the bulletproof coffee the next morning, and I made some, and I didn't tell my mother not to have it because I didn't think she would. But my mom has this way of secretly going and trying the things that like I've made or she sees in my house, because she's like, I'm curious about that, and so she'll have it, and then she's like, oh my god, that thing.
What did you do? What did you do to me?
I'm like, Mom, you can't have that. So I made bulletproof coffee that morning, and we went for a run, and then we came back, and she goes, honey, what was in that coffee? Like, I've been in the bathroom ever since you guys left. And I was like, oh, Mom, it had MCT oil in it, like a lot. And she goes, what is that? Well, something you have to start off with slow. Okay.
Right.
So start off with like 1 teaspoon and then slowly work your way up to a tablespoon. All right.
Got
You can
it.
start off with the Kerrygold butter, full blown. 1 tablespoon is fine. The cacao powder, you can choose to add that or not. It's going to be really good, and actually might kind of give people like a buzz a little bit, because cacao I don't know if you've ever heard of cacao ceremonies. They're like Mayan, and they used to have
Oh yeah.
like cacao ceremonies with they just they can really open you up, like they say, it opens up your third eye. And so that's one of the reasons why I like to have it, is just that spiritual awakening in the morning, because the coffee is doing that, the caffeine's doing that to your body. The MCT oil's turning you into an immediate fat burner, because it gets processed differently and it activates fat burning. C, the butter has butyric acid in it, which wakes up your brain, helps you be more cognitively alert. And then the cacao ceremony, the cacao powder, kind of gives you like a enhancement feeling of like love and connectivity. So you might just do that and then go meditate or go for a walk and then float for a little while. I don't know. It's actually pretty wild. So,
Okay.
all right.
Good
So then
stuff.
you just blend it all together and then you have it. You drink it. And
Got it.
on an extreme fat loss protocol, you can do 1 cup of this in the morning, and you can even do another one around like noon or even 1 if caffeine is not a problem. And if you're
No.
supplementing with all the supplements, because on this protocol, you're not eating food, you're having fat. So that is why this one would be okay for somebody if they can do more than 1 cup of coffee a day. It's really the fat. So what we're doing here in this one, since they're not eating the food, they're eating fat. So the fat is giving them the calories that their body needs for fuel. Like I said earlier, you got to have something, right? Your basal metabolic rate has to have something. So the fat is going to do that for you. All right. So the fat in the butter, the fat in the MCT oil, tons of water, the supplements, go take a bite out of the butter. And like in the beginning, you might seem like this is a bit extreme. You might be short on calories, but you're not going to be like dieting like a traditional, well, you are, but you're not like I told you earlier, if you like feel restricted, you can go have something that is fatty, you know. This is pretty extreme. I never really did this one to the full where I wasn't eating. I still ate. I still ate like a meal that had fat and protein in it. All right.
Fat, protein, no carbs?
Yeah, even if just like a little bit of carbs, like salad.
Or I was going to say really light carbs, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So here are some supplements that you want to take with this one. Is all of the same stuff. But this one is like, since you're not doing the foods, you're not doing the shakes, you're going to really want to be diligent with the supplements. But see, that's why I say like the other one is really, really good, because you're able to eat still. You know, you could do something like this for a day or 2, and that's fine. I think that's just
I
the
was
best thing.
going to say I might just try it just to see if I can make it through a day.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then like you slowly build up to like more days, and then you have a refeed day. So sample day, wake up, drink the coffee, have all these supplements. 10 o'clock, after the supplements have already been ingested, then take the activated charcoal because it can't be taken with other stuff because it will bind and you won't, the benefits of the other stuff will be wiped right out.
I was gonna say it'll be a waste. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Got
make
it.
sure there's space in between. At 11 o'clock, that glutamine is going to give you a kick in the butt and you're going to feel amazing. It's going to give you energy. It's actually a gut healer. So it's one of the supplements that can heal a leaky gut. So this might be really good for your wife. If she can do this, it'd be really good for her.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, you could have another coffee. You could even do a matcha. You could even do a green tea. All right. At around 4, you would have 5 grams of the branched chain amino acids. That's also going to give you a boost in energy because they're so good for you. And then 6, activated charcoal. 7 o'clock, you're going to probably be hungry. Have some butter or some ghee with some beta HCl. And then at 9 p.m., have your magnesium with no stevia. So it has to be all natural. And 2 milligrams of potassium. Or you could have a supplement like a vitamin pill that has both of those. I'm sure you can find them. I don't think I have them. And then it says here, like the first 3 days, you may need the L-glutamine. If your body's really toxic, you may go through that healing crisis like I talked about, experiencing headaches, you may feel like you have the flu because you're detoxifying your body. And this will pass. If you need painkillers, you can go with aspirin, but not Tylenol. Tylenol is going to hurt the liver and make it hard to detox because it also depletes the glutathione. And if you feel hungry, eat more fat. Just eat fat. If you feel hungry, eat fat. There's nothing wrong with it. So obviously this is kind of weird and it's extreme, but that's why it says extreme fat loss protocol. So if you're hungry, don't hesitate to go eat something, eat some butter, eat some ghee, like just take a spoonful. It's going to be weird, but you're going to satisfy that urge and you're going to satisfy that craving. And like I say here, you're not going to think it's weird when you start dropping massive amounts of fat off your body.
Right.
You're not. Like, you're going to have trained your body how to burn fat for fuel. And it is life-saving because insulin all the time being released is causing diabetes. It's causing insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity makes that it's pre-diabetic because what happens is that release of insulin is no longer being heard by the pancreas and the cells, and then the body is getting desensitized to the insulin, so it keeps pumping it out. And so it's such a bad cycle to be in when we are in a carb burning state. That's what the problem is. That's what happens when somebody is obese and they literally cannot lose the weight because they have become dysfunctional. Their insulin and their pancreas and their cells are no longer talking to each other. They've become dysfunctional. So that it has to, like, the signals have to, like, they have to fix themselves. And the only way they can fix themselves is to slowly graduate from that dysfunctional state into becoming a fat burner. It's the only way they can heal themselves, and to slowly get their body processing the way it should be again. Okay. And the cool thing about this is, like, once you get in the groove and you get in that fat burning, like I said to you, you're not gonna crave food. You're gonna be able to go to like 5 and you're like, oh my God, it's 5 o'clock. Awesome. You're gonna save money on food. You will save money on food. Because it may look like an expense in the beginning. This is a good point. Because you see all the supplements that you have to buy, right? But you're going to save money because you're not buying the food. So just kind of think of that as a shift for, like, let's say you do this next month. Or let's just say you're doing this next month. Okay, you normally spend $200 on food, or 3 or 4. Okay, well, you're going to cut back on the food next month because you're going to do this, and you're going to have the supplements. So you're, instead of putting the money there, you're putting it here. So it's a wash. So you can kind of see, you'll get into the cycle, you'll see like, oh, I'm spending that much. I'm just going to redirect that to this for now. It's the same thing with like my meal replacement shakes. And people look at like Advocare or Isogenics and like, oh, that's expensive. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's literally $3.95 for a shake. That's not.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
Not at all. So I'd rather spend that than going to, a restaurant or even Whole Foods and spending $8.95 on a meal on a salad, for crying out loud. So
yeah,
it's just not expensive. Okay, so like with this one, you're going to drop fat fast, and then you're going to have a refeed day. And then in that refeed day, this is kind of like carb cycling, where you have like the tubers, you have the really good carbohydrates. And this is where you reset your leptin levels. And this is not a cheat day. This isn't, you don't get to go eat pizza and donuts and all that good stuff. That's going to set you back. That's going to ruin your immune system. But you do want to eat a ton of sweet potatoes and other starchy tubers, glucose. You will remain eating fat, and you will also add in grass-fed meats and pasteurized eggs and wild seafood or protein, like the sardines. So it's important to choose glucose-based carbohydrates like sweet potatoes, taro, and over fruit, which is fructose. Okay. So fructose is 10 to 20% more fat-forming during overfeeding than glucose.
Okay.
All right. And so some people try to trick their body and go, oh, I'm going to do a double whammy. I'm not going to refeed, or I'm going to go low carb. You can't. You have to give your body the carbs again, because it's not just the carbs. It's what you're telling your brain. You're resetting your brain. You're resetting your leptin levels, the ghrelin, which tells your brain you're hungry, and the leptin, which regulates the hunger and brain, I'm hungry, I'm not hungry ratio. All right.
Got it.
So you can do it a refeed, like in the beginning. You could even do like 2 days, 3 days of a fast like this one, and then refeed. Go 3 days again and do another refeed. A lot of people get to a place where like they're going to go 5 days and refeed on the 6th day.
Okay.
All right. What to expect? You're going to lose a ton of weight. You want to retest if you did the tests with your lipids, your blood panel, and your kidney and liver. I would say go retest and see where those numbers are. And here it says how long you can, until you've lost the weight, you can just keep cycling this for a while and just kind of see how you're feeling. As long as you're supplementing, you're okay, usually. Now, the reason I say that, because I don't think I have the resource in here, but there was a guy who fasted with supplements and fat for fuel for an entire year. An entire year the guy did this, and he lost so much weight. He was fine. He's perfectly healthy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
I should mention I have a conference call in about 7 minutes.
Oh, all right.
I gotta jump off. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, we got all this other stuff, and we're pretty much done. So this is just the resources. And then if you have any questions, I'm going to send out some videos on like the supplements and the ketones and the isogenics and then the fat burning coffee, just to kind of keep you moving along. But don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. And you'll be getting more information on for next week. We'll have another call, just kind of final follow-up call for any Q&A that you have. And we'll go from there. I would love
send me the,
if you guys are interested.
Isogenics link too.
Yeah. If you want to go to isogenics.liznerswiki.com, isogenics.liznerswiki.com, kind of look around at that and see what you think, and we can jump on a call and get you set up if you're interested in that. But I'll be sending the videos out so you'll see exactly how I take my stuff.
Got it.
And again, I would love it if you did a before photo.
I will.
and then like even your wife, and then maybe in like 6 months after you've done this for a while, just this lifestyle, you've lived this lifestyle for a while, it'll be a great testimony for this nutrition and fat loss mastery.
I will do that for you.
I want to get you abs, just like I got mine.
I'm okay with that. My wife would like that too.
Awesome.
Not just the one ab I have now. She'd like to see all
Yeah, exactly.
of them.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome. Have a great day. It was great seeing you again.
You too. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.